All right, please be joined this time by one of our favorite guys, Coach Terrance Banks, head coach of Greene County, a great, great guy and a great coach, innovative guy, and somebody I'm looking forward to talking to. So we got Coach Banks talking about creating moments in your program. You got it, Coach.
So, guys, how's everybody doing? My name is Terrance Banks, and this presentation is on creating moments in your program. I didn't want to talk about offense or defense or special teams football. I think you hear so much of that in these clinics. In my going on 10th year as a head coach, 17th year in coaching, it's about so much more than that in our programs. And so I wanted to talk about creating moments in your program. So here we are. Um, Part one, what they remember. And if you can see this slide here, it's from one of my former tech. Those are his eyes. And then the up for Babylon. So in my time at Newton, we won a lot of games there at Newton, region championship, third round of the playoffs every year. The one thing that we talk about the most is we talk about Babylon. And that's kind of an inside joke to who we are. But Babylon is our most talked about experience. So it goes back to what moments do you create? Not about the wins, not about the losses. It's about that moment, about Babylon at LCA camp. And if you ask any of those guys about it, they'll tell you about it. And this is a picture of Babylon. Short story. These young men were tired. They had then they had to finish FCA camp. So that's the part. This picture summarizes the last bit of practice at FCA camp in West Georgia and what they remember. And so, that's important to us. Babylon is a moment that is sketched into their brains for life. When we talk about all the coaches talk about it, and I go ahead and talk about it now, they all talk about mission and vision statements. And everybody has this fancy mission and vision statement. Mine is very simple. My mission is to compete for championships while providing a unforgettable experience. Compete for championships because it's hard to win it, guys, when you got 500 schools and 8 championships, but compete for them. But I want the experience to be unforgettable. That's the mission. Every year that I do this thing as a head coach. And then the vision is to create world changing young men and women through football, teaching them how to use great effort and energy to finish in life. Because that's what this is all about. So, guys, who am I? And make sure you guys not talking to a nutball, just in case somebody's watching this who doesn't know who I am. 16 years coaching, guys. I spent 6 years as the head coach at Newton High School. Some accomplishments: first region meeting, should say region championship in 25 years. We made the playoffs every year, state quarterfinals for the first time. I then left the Newton and went to Tri Cities High School. Then the pandemic happened, and I want to be back a little closer to home. And I went to Meadow Creek High School for 2 years and was interim head coach. We got the playoffs, highest playoff seed in school history. And then now that everything is kind of back to normal, my family told me to go be great. So I'm currently at Greene County High School as the head football coach in beautiful Greensboro, Georgia, exit 130. So these are all the things that I've done, guys, from being the head coach in a 7A program to being the head coach in a single A Division II program. So from 3,000 kids to 420 kids in the building. So I read this book, guys. In my time leaving Newton, I started to become a reader, avid reader, and I try to read 15 minutes every day, which is crazy because I'm a mathematics teacher by trade, and English is not my favorite subject. Was never my favorite subject, but I try to read now. But The Power of Moments by Chief Chip and Dan Heath, why certain experiences have extraordinary impact. And so that kind of brought to me that when we do things with kids, that we try to do things that have impact, power of moments. Because when you talk back to kids that have played for you, it's those moments they remember, not necessarily game scores. I can't tell you very many scores, even from past season. You just remember moments. Now I can't tell you about the wins. I can tell you about the losses, how we lost by a point here or there, but even the exact scores are hard to remember. So if coaches this all season, if you can only do one thing, read this book, it will help you become a better coach. And it's the power of moments. Doesn't have a ton to do with football. What does part of the book talk about? It says this: there is power in moments. That is why certain experiences can jolt us and elevate us and change us. Think about it: the birth of your child, death in your family, the day you got married. Those are moments that are etched into your brain. And so, what I want everybody to get from this presentation is this: everyone watching this video wants to elevate their position, unit, or program to the next level. One way of doing this is to create more moments or experiences in your programming unit. Most of these examples are things that we have done and they are cost ineffective. There are things that can be implemented today to change, drive, or increase the urgency of a group or a team. And here are some simple ways to use moments to create emotional attachment to your group or team. All right, so number one thing that we do is we buy wristbands. So each year I still purchase wristbands with the yearly theme or team theme on them, different colors, text, anything to make it exciting for the kids. I also suggest getting enough possible for faculty member and staff. Want to create buy-in for them? Got to make the faculty and staff feel like they're part of the team. Some years I did multiple wristbands. One was for our season workouts with our winter theme, and then our regular season theme. Kids love wristbands, buy them, create them, come up with a unique way to give them out, make them a big deal. So my current motto that I go by at Greene County is pay the fee. Back at Newton, I was known for bringing the hammer, and we still bring the hammer. That has a different meaning for us now at Greene County. But what I did was when I was starting to develop that pay the fee mindset, and that means for us, pay the fee. That means finish, energy, and effort. Okay, we got breakfast for the winter, so our kids had to pay the fee, and when they paid the fee, they got regular season wristbands. Also, something I did at Tri Cities, you see here, Tri Cities is one of my students. Our cheerleader, she had them on at Tri Cities. I found this picture. They said Tri Cities football, clamp down, rebuild the city, city on fire. So that was our theme that year, Tri Cities. So we got wristbands, some ineffective. All the kids wore them, teachers wore them. It's really a buy-in. How many of you guys got kids right now at your school that wear the wristband? Well, I'm giving this presentation right now. I got on 4 wristbands. I got the LCA wristband, the 4 that many of you guys probably got. I got the minority coaches wristband on. I got my fraternity wristband on. And I have on the Borough Boys wristband, which says pay the fee, exit 130 in the Borough Boys. So wristband, man, they are cheap and cost efficient. You can get it for player of the week. You can get it for academic. You can get it for weightlifting. You get it forever. Kids love wristbands, something that don't cost you a bunch of money. Get them for your position group, however you want to get that buy-in. But one thing that you can do to create those moments is those wristbands, and it helps you look back at those moments as you go on. Guys, have you ever worked at a school where there's a disconnect between the band, cheerleaders, and football program? If there isn't, I have a way to get everybody on the same page. One of my favorite traditions after the game is singing of the school alma mater. After the game, my team heads over to the band, the cheerleaders in front of us, and we embrace each other and sing the alma mater. The number of fans that stay in the stands to take video of this and get buy-in that you get from principal and athletic director is amazing. I'm gonna show a quick clip for my time at Newton, but I just think we talk about community programs, and you want to if you want to foster a great relationship with your band director, with your cheerleaders, and you want everybody to think it's not about you. And football coaches, I don't know if you guys need to hear this, is we really do think it's all about us. And sometimes we have to remind people that it's not. And when you do it right and you get buy-in, I make my boys learn the words like I can still sing Tri-Cities High, One Made a Many, Diverse Divided on the Road to Victory. And I was only there for 1 year. Obviously, I can sing Newton High's alma mater back and forth because I was there 6 years. So I just think that you talk about moments. And here it is, picture from our time at Newton. And as you see, that's me, that's the principal, athletic director. We embrace harms. We swayed, we sung it, young kids, boys love being in the front. You see our cheerleaders, we're facing our band. Um, we had just won the county rivalry against Rockdale. It's a moment that our fans stayed about. Fans stayed in the stands, parents, alumni, everybody, and everybody joined in. So these are the moments that kids look forward to on Friday. I went back to a Newton football game. Um, Last year to see some of my old assistant coaches who have taken over the program. And one thing that the kids still do is they still do the alma mater at the end of the game. You're talking about creating a moment and leaving a legacy that lives on. And that's big what we talk about in our programs. So that's one thing that you can continue to do here when we talk about building those moments. I don't have any pictures of this, but I'll talk about this one. And I think this is one that every coach should take with them. And I think that every coach should do. Head coaches, especially, but coordinators, definitely position coaches. One of the best things I took from Randy Jackson's book, Culture Defeat Strategy, was dinner with a coach. The basis of the idea is to learn more about your players in a setting that allows for open conversation, to learn more about who they are as a person rather than a player. On at least one Sunday a month as a head coach, I had 10 players come to the school for dinner with me, 4 to 6 in the off season to talk about parents, where you're from, what they want to do at the high school. It also gave the players a chance to know and ask questions about me. So even before I even finish talking about that, guys, I want you to think about this setting. We're gonna have 10 kids come in for me as the head coach. If you're a position group, doing for your position group. If you're a coordinator, break it down. They come in, I bring my kids in. We eat pizza, drink Gatorade. And I got a kid that's nicknamed Chicago. Tell me the backstory. He's from Chicago. How did you get here? Why do they call you that? What things are you looking forward to doing? And you get to know kids on a personal level. That old saying of kids don't care about how much you know until they know you care is 100% true, guys. So it's important for you to create these moments with these kids. And I think sometimes as coaches, too many of us can get worried about Friday nights and why isn't Johnny performing? Well, how much do you actually know about Johnny? So, um, one of the things I learned from my time as a 7A head coach is when we got Newton rolling, it was 130 kids in the program. I struggled with that because I did not get to know all of my freshmen because as head coach, you spend so much time with upperclassmen. But as coordinators, this is good to do. As head coaches, this is good to do more than 10, do 20 if you need to. Position coaches, you got to keep your thumb in your program. So this was huge here at Greene County, being that I have about 50 to 55 kids on varsity, 9 through 12, I can knock this out in a matter of months. So it's been a good chance for me to get to know my kids. Um, Here's what I'm able to do in Greene County too that some of y'all might be able to do. I'm able to go down to my middle school for my rising eighth graders, and I got that scheduled for next month. I'm buying pizza. I'm going down to my eighth graders for lunch, and we're going to eat at the eighth grade level. And that gives me a chance to know these guys before they get to me because that's important. If you're a position coach or coordinator, I encourage you to do this as well. A lot of coaches do this at their home. If you do it at the field house, no matter the location, players love it. Booster Club can cater it. If not, like I say, Gatorade, Little Caesars Pizza, and watch the conversation grow. Schedule it for 2 hours. Sometimes it takes more than that. And I know as head coaches, like I said, we focus so much on the singers. You're going to invite the singers to your house. You're going to do bam, bam, and bam. But you need to make sure as best you can, you know all of your program. So I can't speak to you guys enough about how life-changing this team dinner is. And this is something you need to do in the off season, because I think one place where coaches fail at is too many coaches worry about football from April to November, and then they forget about it. And so that needs to be changed. So we need to make sure that we lock in on our kids if we're really trying to create these moments and be life changing. Let me just say this, man. If you guys are not on top of your graphic game right now, your program is horrible. I mean, kids love it, man. Old coaches, let the young kids on your staff, young coaches have at it. In this new day age of cell phones, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you gotta use pictures and graphics to acknowledge your kids. And they don't have to be at first the greatest thing in the world if you can't afford nobody to do it. There are so many templates, Canva. Let these people have it. Photos. Let these kids do this stuff. Showcase your program. I probably should do another session on fundraising to see how graphics can help with fundraising once you're getting your word out there. Invest in those moments. If your team can't hire a photographer, I'm sure somebody at your school is in the photography and video and editing. I have a OPS every year. I get kids for on-field personnel staff. That's what it's called, and they do a myriad of things. And one of those things is graphic. If you're a small school and can't afford it, here's what you do: go in your stadium, get a picture of your press box, get your helmet and shoulder pads, get a ground view. Go to the press box, take a picture of your field, take a picture of certain places around your school that mean something. There's nothing you can't do. Do graphics for everything. I had pictures taken I got pictures taken at every game. I got people doing hype videos. Kids love it, man. They see the colleges doing it. And it's really about creating those moments for your kids. I'm sure everybody's doing it. So, base example, this is what we did at Greene County last year. So let me tell you guys what part of this is great. As you see how it says sponsored by Dairy Cream, the Grill and Chill in Greensboro, they're one of our big time sponsors, right? So they bought the rights to sponsor the player of the week with a cheeseburger meal and the graphic. So guys, 11 weeks sponsored by Dairy Queen of Greensboro, over 45,000 impressions on Twitter alone. And my team page is not followed by that many. Now, I did retweet it from my personal page, which is followed by 7,000 people. Use this to highlight your kids. As you guys get into fundraising, if you can add that to your graphics, tell the guys who you're trying to get money from that you had that available, sell it for a small cost. That doesn't cost you anything. So you always got to be on top of your game. But I mean, we did this again, guys, for several weeks back to back where we did the graphics, and that was big for our kids. And then we talk about those videos. I won't show all 8 minutes of this, but as you can see, this is an 8-minute video of my kids in a game. And so this is a keepsake for my kids. I'm not watching these videos, man, but mama, uncle, granddaddy couldn't make it to the game, uncle couldn't make it to the game, cousin, the kids want to share. And it don't have to be that long. I love the guy who comes and do these videos because, like I said, he do some of them for 8 minutes, and as you can see, they're long as heck. I'm fast forwarding some of it. You see the boys in the locker room pregame, getting ready. This was homecoming. So, like, we even got some teacher of the year stuff going on here. Teacher of the year with the corn flip. And then we had game action. So, what do you think this meant to my boys in the community to be able to watch themselves in some of these highlights? I mean, man, kids love it, coaches. It ain't gotta be our cup of tea. Everything we do ain't for us. It's for these kids, man, and let these kids celebrate and have fun with what they do. And that pretty much was what we tried to do for the most part, and just share those videos and let those kids have it. Um, Another idea I got, man, I got this from Josh Moore, who is now the athletic director at Best Academy, former head coach. Now he's what we call a master griller. So anybody who knows Josh Moore, in addition to AD, he's a master griller. Anytime guys are cooking on the big green egg, you gotta be a master griller if you're gonna use the big green egg. Well, Best Academy is also, I think now they might be, I think they're playing double A ball due to trying to stay in the metro area, but they got single A numbers. He struggles with getting kids to come to practice on days that they weren't in school. So you talk about solutions, and too many coaches, I just ain't gonna play them. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But that's the wrong attitude. Or too many coaches will maybe play the kids if they don't show up, which also sends a bad message to the team. So he went out his way to make sure that Labor Day practice was fun and nobody wanted to miss. He put those grilling skills to the test. So when I got to Greene County, that is one thing that I stole for Josh Moore. I said, hey, man, I'm going to make sure that Labor Day practice in the borough is an event. And that is exactly what it is. There you go. If you know, those who know Terrance Banks can tell you two things about Terrance Banks. He want to eat good and he want to dress good. You notice how eating good was number one. So um, my parents showed up, man, for Labor Day practice last year in the borough, and you can see all the chicken and ribs, and that's just one grill. We had like 4 grills. These boys ate so good after Labor Day practice. Trust me, it has been talked about, and they're already asking me how Labor Day practice is going to be this year. And my main thing is just making sure that this is a yearly event. So there's so many ways, coaches, that you can take building your programs. If you want to fight Labor Day practice, if your kid's gonna show up and you're like, Coach Banks, that's too much money, I can't afford all that, fine, do hamburgers and hot dogs. That was originally my plan, but my parents went the extra mile. And again, I'm not turning down any parent that wants to go the extra mile. So that's what we did. But I think that's important that you guys have a plan. So make practice special. That's moment 5. And for us, moment 5 is Labor Day practice wherever I am, head coach or assistant. Hopefully, I'm a head coach for the rest of my life until I want to slow down. But I'm gonna make sure Labor Day practice is good. And so, assistant coaches, you guys can chime in with that as well. But I think that's big to go ahead and take care of, what's going on in your program. And one of the things to do that is to make practice special. Guys, we talk about this, create a 365 24/7 program. Guys, I want you guys to learn some things from me. I'm going into year 10 and I still learn so much more about being a head coach every year. And one of the mistakes I made as a young head coach was, again, I didn't run a 365 24/7 program. And what do you mean by that, Coach Banks? You need to make sure that your parents understand that you are invested in their children. Yes, you coach their children. Yes, the kids got to understand it too. But there's nothing wrong with making sure your parents understand that you run a program. The first time you talk to a parent in the off season could not be that parent meeting where you about to put up on the slide how much dues are and fundraising and all that stuff. That's the first time you talking about it. You hustling backwards, as we say. So I have gone out my way as I've grown as a head coach to really go about this model of creating a 365 24/7 football program. So in this stage of winning parents over and keeping parents engaged in a positive way. Remember what I said, positive way, because understand, coaches, parents are always talking about your program. And if they ain't selling your program, they selling it. But if they're not selling it in the way you want it to be sold, then those things matter. I went old school with postcards. And I go back to what I said. Think about it. How often do parents hear from us in the off season? That, and I keep trying to reiterate that fact. I think it's big that parents hear from us in the off season. How often do we truly make them feel like we care about their child 365, 24/7, and not just in season? Amazing how something can make such a small difference. There it is, guys, postcard. And I send them out. I sent them out early. Then I sent the second batch out. And all I said was this, guys, thank you for letting your son play Greene County football. We look forward to seeing you at the parent meeting on 3/22 at 6 p.m. in the comments. Coach Banks, sign my name. I wrote those out. I did 10 a day, guys. 10 a day. I started when the season was over in January. I sent thank you cards. I'm resending out cards, and I'm using the word thank you because it is a privilege for us to coach their kids. And I hate Coach Parker. You might have to chime in and mute me and tell me to shut up if I go off on this tangent. I see coaches spend so much time on Twitter. And guys, I've been on both ends of this. So I understand better than most. I've been on both ends of this, the big gets and the big losses. Spend so much time worrying about is somebody else recruiting my child from my program. And I tell people all the time, as a parent, parents to me should have a right to send their child whatever. My job is to love on the players that I have. Part of the way you get parents to stay, even if your program, even if somebody else is making promises, is do I know that that coach loves my player? Position coaches, you can do this. Head coaches, I'm at a small school, Greene County. If I was back in Newton or back at one of these 4 to 7 day programs with all these kids in the program, I would divvy these up. I would write the senior parents one time and I would do some freshman parents, but I would also have my other coaches do it. I always want to make the parents coming in, they feel good. I always want to make the senior parents know going out is going to be a special year. So I can't say enough about postcards and trying to create this 365-day program, man. I think it's so important that we do these things where we create moments. And I think moments are special in our program. And so my presentation, Coach Parker, wasn't a 40-minute presentation. We hear, it was a quick 20-minute program, but I just wanted to get coaches' idea really on the moments because I don't think enough coaches understand moments. And I even go back to talk about things, coaches, other ideas that I have not tried that you can try. Bixby High School in Oklahoma does a night of champions. We're going to try something similar in Greene County this year, and they give out shirts for making Club 225. Every kid that can power clean 225, and they have it on the football field. They let the community in. They do it at night. If you do a lift-a-thon, and again, guys, moments and programs. I think that's huge. I don't have it on this slide. I wish I had added it, but at the end of every year, we do a cookout. We eat a lot. I eat a lot, guys. We do a cookout and with our cheerleaders, and we get one of those bouncy houses that includes a water slide. We put it in the middle of the football field, and we don't have practice that last Thursday before teachers kind of come back. And we just have a Borough boys and Borough girls cookout. And we in the bounce house, and the kids have fun, and we eat, and it's all about just fellowship. I think, again, creating moments. Um, we're gonna do a Meet the Tigers, which is a pep rally the Saturday before the scrimmage game, and we're gonna have food trucks, some silent auction going on, so it doubles as a fundraiser. Step and repeat up for everybody to take as many pictures as they can. But those are things, community-based moments for everybody to remember. So I hope what you guys get from watching my presentation is a chance to just go back and evaluate what it is that you do in your program that can create moments. And again, for me, that goes back to what I told you guys. My what I told you guys my theme is in my program. The number one thing that I'm trying to do in my program and what our mission is. And I say it to you again so that you hear it, so you can understand where we're going to this. And it was just a moment of clarity because I had Christmas Eve and I said, the longer I do this, the more focused I become in this. For me, um, to compete for championships while providing an unforgettable experience. Don't get caught up in just winning championships. Only 8 teams out of 432 gonna win it. I'll be honest with you guys, it's probably only 64 teams that's got a chance to win state next year. Now, maybe it's a region championship, a big rivalry. Those are important as well, but unforgettable experience. And then that goes back to our vision, which is to create world changing young men and women through football, teaching them how to use great effort and energy to finish in life. That's what this is about. And if that's not what we're doing, then we're lacking. So
That's right.
I'm sorry, coach, that I didn't have a 50-minute presentation. I can always come back and talk for 50 minutes. But I
We'll
just
get
wanted
you
to give
back
people
plenty
something
time.
to think
We'll get
about.
you back for long. But coach, that was great, man. I appreciate you. Awesome as always. You're always welcome, my man.
Yeah, it is. And I just think, that's important. You know this. I got some of this stuff from reading reading your books and just reading, books from other head coaches and talking to other head coaches. I just think that, we don't focus on that. And I think, that's one thing that we talk about at the Minority Coaches Association at our head coaches panel. And that's one thing that you did with you and your brother and Dr. Flatt and your head coaching Bible that you kind of help guys. You got to create moments. And people are always asking you and asking assistant coaches, are always asking me, how do I get ready for that next level? Well, once you get in the job, it's easy. X's and O's, whatever you're gonna run, it's easy. What you gonna do to stick around in this job? What you gonna do to make it memorable for these kids? Because at the end of the day, that's it. We all want a ring, but ain't but a few of us gonna get it. So
That's
I can
right.
already tell you guys that Langston Hughes and Gainesville are loaded next year. So you already know kind of where you're at. You know what I'm saying? I can already tell you guys that Buford and Mill Creek and McKeach are gonna be loaded. So not saying that you can't win it, but understand then what you're doing in your program.
Man, I appreciate you. You come back and see me anytime.